The arena world did not sleep. Neon rings burned in the night sky like open eyes. The city below them was a maze of steel and glass. The crowds never stopped moving. Ships came and went like breath. Loudspeakers threw voices across the wind. Betting halls flashed numbers. Vendors shouted in 10 languages. The smell of hot metal and spice hung over the streets. Mira Cole walked alone. She was a human cadet, young but sharp. Her uniform jacket was plain, dark blue, marked with a small silver crest. It showed a star cradled in 2 hands. It meant service. It meant protect. It meant remember. Her steps were steady. Her face was calm, but there was pressure in her chest. She could not name it. It was like a storm still far away but coming closer. She felt it in her bones. Above the street, the great arena turned slowly like a crown of knives. Thousands of lights drew circles on its outer hull. Big screens played old fights. Champions roared in victory. The crowd roared back. Music shook the air like thunder. Mira's eyes lifted to it for only a second. She had seen many arenas. She did not care for them. She cared for one person in this city, only one, Lyra. Lyra was a medic from the K-Reth species, small, gentle, ash-blue skin. Her eyes were bright and kind. She laughed softly and listened well. She called Mira sister the way a star calls the night home. Lyra healed people. She disliked blood but never looked away from it. She believed kindness was a power like light. They met at the Galactic Academy. The academy sat on a calm moon far from this loud world. Mira remembered quiet mornings there, training fields under pale suns, simulation halls, classrooms with windows that looked out at the rings of gas giants. Lyra had sat beside her in xenobiology class. She had asked about human music and human food. She had asked if rain on Earth made a special smell. Mira told her it did. Lyra's eyes lit up at that. She wrote it in her notes. Earth rain, smell equals promise. They trained together, ate together, walked along long white corridors and talked about everything, about fear, about courage, about what it means to help someone even when help is not asked for. They spoke often about silence. Both of them knew the weight of rooms where no one would listen. Now, in this city, silence was a rare thing. Mira stopped outside a narrow tea stall. The sign over the door showed a leaf floating over a wave. The owner was a thin-run male with copper skin and short feathers in place of hair. He knew Mira and Lyra both. He had saved them a table once during a storm that knocked out power to half the district. He had lit a candle. They had talked about old songs. Cadet Cole, he said, back early. Mira smiled with only her mouth. Back always. Your friend, he asked softly. She said she would meet me here, Mira said. She is late. The owner nodded. He set a cup in front of her, on the house for 2. Mira sat near the door where she could watch the street. She turned her wrist screen on and off, on and off. She checked the time. She checked again. She did not call. She did not want to seem worried. But worry moved like a small animal under her ribs. A group of off-duty arena techs came in. They were laughing, their boots loud. They wore yellow coats with name patches that glowed. One saw Mira's crest and rolled her eyes. Academy, she said to her friends, always watching, never acting. They laughed and went to the back. Mira did not answer. She took a slow drink of tea. It tasted like smoke and flowers. Outside, a siren sang. A patrol skimmer slid by. The city changed colors for a second as the lights washed over it. Mira kept her eyes forward, calm, still, waiting. Her wrist screen blinked. A message, an emergency mark, Lyra's code. Mira tapped the screen. The world narrowed to a thin line. The call did not open. Instead, her screen stuttered. The signal jumped weak like a heart failing. A short audio burst cut through the noise. It was Lyra's voice, broken, strained, breathless. Mira, if you hear, don't come please. Static swallowed the rest. The line went dark. Mira stood so fast her chair fell back. The tea stall owner looked up at her face and stepped back with respect. There was nothing soft left in Mira's eyes, only focus. Where? She asked the screen. Where are you? The system gave a trace. It marked a district near the arena's underbelly. The service tunnels, the place where crowds did not walk, the place where lights did not relax, where the sound of water was not rain but leaking pipes, where guards looked away for money, where a laugh meant danger. Mira left the tea stall without a word. The owner moved to the door and watched her disappear into the flow of the street. He folded his hands, said a small prayer in his language, and blew out a candle. The tunnels were colder than the city above. They smelled like rust and oil. The walls were old. The paint peeled in long strips like shedding skin. Mira's boots rang on metal grates. Water dripped somewhere, counting time. Her light was a thin white blade in the darkness. Her wrist screen showed the signal again, then not. It was a flicker, a ghost that would not stand still. She moved faster. At a junction, two maintenance bots rested like dead beetles. Their eyes were dark. Their panels were pried open. Wires hung like torn veins. Mira's jaw tightened. She stepped around them. She kept going. The tunnel split in three. Her signal went left, then right, then left again. It was wrong. It was being pushed. Someone wanted her to lose track. Someone wanted her confused. She stopped. She switched to manual scan. She scanned for Lyra's bio tag, the one the Academy required for all mission personnel. It was weak. It was faint, but it was there like a candle behind a door. She moved toward it. The passage narrowed. Her shoulders brushed pipes. She ducked under low beams. She slid through a door stuck half open. On the other side, the world became quiet, too quiet. She heard a breath, not hers. "Lyra," she whispered. A small figure leaned against the wall. Blue skin, dark blood on the collar. One hand held a portable transmitter. The other hand shook, eyes wide. "Mira," Lyra said, and then she tried to smile. It was brave and broken. Mira crossed the space in 3 long steps. She crouched to Lyra's level and took her face gently in her hands. "I'm here," she said. "I'm here." Lyra's breath hitched. "You should not have come." "Don't say that again," Mira said softly. "What happened?" Lyra's eyes flicked past Mira's shoulder. Fear moved behind them like a shadow. "They heard me. I called you. I had to call you. They took." Her voice failed for a second. "They took something from me, from us. Important. I ran. I hid, but they follow." "Who?" Mira asked. Lyra swallowed. "The nobles' men," she said. "The ones from House San. The ones who laugh when they hurt. The ones who buy guards. They—" She stopped. She was shaking now. "I recorded proof of what they did. In the medical bay, to the people who could not pay, to the off-worlders, to me." She shut her eyes. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry," Mira said. Her voice was flat now. The safe, steady voice of a person building a plan inside her mind. "Where is the proof?" Lyra lifted the small transmitter. The screen showed a progress bar. It had almost reached the end. "Encrypted, sending to the Academy archive. Slow down here, the walls are thick." The transmitter blinked. A thin green line crawled forward. Steps sounded at the far end of the hall. Mira stood and moved in front of Lyra, between her and the shadow. She reached under her jacket and drew a compact baton. It was neither long nor heavy, but in her hands it meant the difference between life and the long night. The steps stopped. A voice spoke from the dark. It was smooth and lazy, filled with a smile that did not touch the eyes. "Human," it said. "Cadet." The voice tasted her name like a sweet fruit. "Move aside." Mira did not move. 3 figures stepped into the light. They wore smooth black armor with glossy edges. Their helmets were open. The leader's hair was white like spilled milk. He had a narrow face and narrow eyes. The crest on his collar showed a sharp triangle inside a circle. "House San." "Hand over the medic," he said. "And the device. You may walk away. Consider this mercy." Mira watched him the way a hawk watches distance. "No," he smiled. "You think you can stop us? Do you know who I am?" He spread his hands like a priest. "I am Sir Rel San. I own 10 blocks of this city. I host parties where counselors giggle like children. I could buy your academy if I wished. If I can buy your teachers, how hard will it be to buy one little cadet?" Mira's grip did not change on the baton. "Then you have money and nothing else," she said. "Buy yourself a mirror." Rel's smile thinned. His two soldiers stepped forward. They lifted shock pistols. The barrels hummed. Mira moved. She took one step to the left, the smallest step, and the first shot hissed past her shoulder and killed the light. The hall fell into near dark. For someone else it would have been a problem. For Mira it was space. She closed distance with speed that had its own gravity. Her baton struck the first soldier's wrist. The shock pistol fell, clanged on the floor. She kicked it into the dark. She turned with the movement and drove the baton into the second soldier's knee. The joint folded. He fell with a surprised noise. She kept moving. She had to be a tide. She had to be wind. The baton flashed again and kissed a temple. The soldier went still. Rel clapped slowly. "Better than you look," he said. Mira stepped backward, back to Lyra's side. "Go," she whispered. "If I fall, run." The transmitter in Lyra's hand blinked again. The progress bar crawled, 92%. Rel drew a blade. It was short and wicked. The metal had a wet sheen to it. "Do you know the best thing about our arenas, human?" he asked as he tested the blade on the air. "They teach my people how to enjoy things that end." He lunged. Mira ducked under the blade. She caught his arm with her left hand, twisted, and drove her shoulder into his ribs. He grunted. The blade kissed her jacket and cut a shallow line. She ignored the sting and turned his arm. He was strong. She was faster. He kicked her. The air left her for a second. She tasted copper. She fell, rolled, rose again. He laughed. She did not. The soldiers stirred behind him. One tried to stand. She threw the baton. It hit him across the face. He fell again, a puppet with the strings cut. Rel studied her. His mouth made a soft O. "Human rage," he said. "I have read about it. I like it. It is like a song." The transmitter, 96%. Lyra stood. She was shaking, but she stood. She had pulled her small med tool from her belt. It was not a weapon. It was a scalpel with a narrow beam. She held it the way a person holds the truth when the truth is a risk. Rel saw the light in her hand and smirked. "Medic," he said, "you are the reason we are here. Do you feel proud? You sent your little files to a trash bin. Nothing leaves this city unless I wish it." "Then wish this," Lyra said and aimed the beam at the old power panel on the wall. A shower of bright sparks filled the passage. The hall lights died. The darkness became thick. The world shrank to breathe and metal. Mira's pupils widened. She had trained for zero visibility. She took one step and vanished into the night. Rel turned his head, ears searching. His blade cut air. Air did not bleed. Mira moved past him, brushed the edge of his coat, felt the blade whisper by. She marked his position in her mind. She did not strike, not yet. She had a different goal. "Lyra," she whispered, "come to my voice." A hand touched her sleeve. She took it. They ran. Rel's laugh chased them down the hall. "Run, little human," he called. "Run, little medic. The arena loves to watch the fear before the fall." Mira pulled Lyra through the door stuck half open. She shoved it wider and they squeezed through. Behind them boots hit metal. A more distant hum joined the sound, a drone waking. The hunters had called the dogs. "Left," Lyra gasped. "The signal, the transmitter, did it send?" Mira asked. Lyra looked at the screen. The bar had reached the end. The device flashed a gentle green. "Yes," she said. Her voice broke on the word. "Yes, it sent." Mira allowed herself one small breath of relief. Then she took Lyra's face again, quickly, gently. "Listen to me. We cannot go up. They will have eyes on every exit." "Then where?" Mira looked down the tunnel. A faint draft touched her cheek. The air smelled less like oil and more like rain a long way off. "There," she said. "Service vents. They lead to a drainway." They ran. Behind them the drone came like a low, angry moon. Its light cut the dark into white slices. It sang to itself in a cold voice. "Target acquired. Yield, yield." Mira grabbed a metal grate with both hands and pulled. It was sealed. She set her feet, found the hidden locks with her fingers and popped them one by one. The drone came closer. It fired a warning shot. The beam burned a line on the wall where her head had been. She did not flinch. The last lock popped. She threw the grate aside. She pushed Lyra into the opening. "Go. What about you? I'm right behind you." Lyra slid into the vent. Mira followed. The metal was tight and sharp. She wriggled through and pulled the grate back into place with her boots. A second later the drone arrived. It scanned the hall and paused. "Signal lost," it said, confused. Signal. Mira and Lyra slid on their stomachs through the narrow space. The vent smelled like old dust and old storms. Somewhere water laughed. Mira reached a cross-section and dropped into a larger duct. They could crawl now. It felt like luxury. Lyra breathed hard, then spoke between breaths. "Mira, I tried to call you earlier. They blocked the channel. I found a gap and sent one last burst. I did not know if it reached you." "It reached me," Mira said. "I came." Lyra's voice shook. "I was afraid you would. I was afraid you would not." Mira glanced back. "I never leave you." Lyra looked at the transmitter. Its light glowed calm. "If the Academy gets this, they will act." "They will," Mira said, though she did not know. The Academy had rules. The city had money. Between rules and money, truth could get thin. They reached a hatch. Mira slowed, listened, then pushed it open a few centimeters. The space beyond was a maintenance gallery. It was empty. She helped Lyra down. They crossed it quickly and went through another door into a vertical shaft with a ladder. Cold air rose from below. Mira set Lyra's hand on the ladder. "Hold tight," she said. "We have 3 floors to descend. Do not look down." "I am a medic," Lyra said. "We always look down." They climbed. Halfway down, voices echoed faintly from above. Rel's men had found the vent. The drone sang again. Mira kept her rhythm steady so Lyra would not hear her speed change. Each rung was a decision to keep going. At the bottom, the shaft opened into a drainway, a long tunnel where water moved slow and dark. The sound of it filled the space. The city's heartbeat. There were no crowds here, no screens, no music. Only the old work of gravity. Mira helped Lyra onto the walkway. "We go east," she said. "There is an outlet into the river. From there we can vanish." Lyra nodded, then reached for Mira's sleeve. "You were always the brave one," she said. Mira almost smiled. "No, I was always the stubborn one." They walked. They did not run now. Running made noise. Their steps matched the slow beat of the water. Sometimes Lyra stumbled. Mira's hand was there, the way a tree is there for a tired bird. They reached a junction where 4 tunnels met. A single light flickered overhead. A shadow waited beneath it, a tall figure in a long coat, hat pulled low. For a second, Mira thought it was a trick of the light. Then the figure lifted a hand. "Do not be afraid," the stranger said. The voice was neither harsh nor soft. It was careful. "If you are Lyra of the K-Reth and Mira Cole of Earth, I am here to help." Mira stepped in front of Lyra. "Name does not matter," the stranger said. "I serve the ones who still believe the law matters. Quickly, we do not have time." Mira's eyes went to the coat, the boots, the way the stranger stood with weight on the balls of the feet. Trained, but trained could mean many things. The hat lifted a little, a glimpse of a face scarred by time, neither young nor old. The eyes were clear, tired but clear. "How did you find us?" Mira asked. "We followed the screams money makes," the stranger said simply. "Also, your friend is very brave. Brave people leave a special path." Lyra stepped out a little. "You can get us out." "Yes, but you must choose now." Ahead, behind, above, distant footsteps echoed together like a net pulling tight. Mira looked at Lyra. Lyra looked at Mira. They chose. "Lead," Mira said. The stranger turned and moved into the east tunnel, quiet, fast. Mira and Lyra followed. After 2 bends, a small gate appeared. The stranger opened it with a code burned into a rusted panel. They stepped through into a culvert with a low ceiling and a wide black river gliding past like a shadow with its own dreams. A boat waited, not a big boat, not a fancy one. Just a small work skiff with a muted engine and a canvas cover. The stranger stepped in and offered a hand. Mira helped Lyra aboard, then jumped in herself. The engine whispered to life. The skiff slid into the dark water without a ripple. Behind them, voices reached the gate. Boots thudded on concrete, metal rang. The drone's cold voice drifted through the rust. Target required. The stranger did not look back. The skiff hugged the wall and drifted. The city above was a far-off rumor now. The tunnel opened into a wider channel. Air moved. The night breathed on their faces. Only then did the stranger speak again. "You sent the file," they said. "Yes," Lyra whispered. "Good. Then everything changes." Mira watched the stranger's hands on the tiller. "Who are you?" she asked again. "A friend," the stranger said. "A rare thing in this city." Mira did not argue. A slice of sky appeared where the tunnel ended and the river met the open channel that circled the arena district. The stars looked like seeds scattered by a careful hand. The arena itself hung above the skyline like a giant halo, bright and cruel. "Where will you take us?" Mira asked. "A safe place," the stranger said. "Quiet walls, loyal doors, people who owe me favors." Lyra leaned against Mira's shoulder. "I am sorry," she said softly, "for pulling you into this." Mira put an arm around her. "You did not pull me," she said. "I walked." They came to a shadowed dock under a bridge. The stranger cut the engine and let the skiff drift into the dark. A door in the concrete opened on a whisper. Two other figures waited inside. They wore plain clothes and plain faces, the kind people do not remember. One took the boat's rope. The other offered a hand to Lyra. "Careful," he said. "Watch the step." Inside the door, a narrow hall led to a small room with a table and 3 chairs. There was a kettle on a hot plate. There were bandages in a clean tin. There was a lamp that threw a warm circle on the table. There was silence that did not feel dangerous. The stranger shut the door and turned the bolts. The sound was heavy and kind. "Sit," they said. "Breathe." Lyra sat and let the other helper clean the wound at her collar. The blood had dried. It looked worse than it was. Her hands stopped shaking. Mira stood. She did not sit. She could not. The stranger watched her. "You will not rest," they observed. Later, Mira said. The stranger nodded. They poured 3 cups of something that smelled like mountain leaves after rain. They set one in front of Lyra, one in front of Mira, and kept one for themselves. "Listen," they said. "House San will not stop. The file you sent is a blade. They will try to break it. They will say it is false. They will hunt you to the end of this city. They will use the arena if they must." Mira met their eyes. "Let them." The stranger's mouth twitched. "I believe you," they said. "But believe this too, they will try to make this about blood and spectacle. They will try to drown truth in noise." Lyra's voice was small. "What do we do?" "First," the stranger said, "we make sure the file reaches ears that do not bend. I will send it again through a channel they cannot buy. Second, we move you somewhere they cannot easily touch. Third," they looked at Mira. "Third, we plan for when kindness is not enough." "Kindness is always enough," Lyra said, almost like a reflex. The stranger's eyes softened. "I wish you were right, healer." A soft chime sounded from the transmitter in Lyra's hand. She looked down. A new message had arrived. The code was from the Academy archive. She opened it with a trembling thumb. The message was short: received, locked. Investigation opened, hold position, do not engage. Lyra exhaled a laugh that was half sob. "They got it," she said. "They believed it." Mira's shoulders lowered a fraction. The stranger let out a slow breath through their nose. "Good," they said. "Then we have a small hour before the city learns the same." The room hummed for a moment with the sound of the kettle and nothing else. The helper finished the bandage and gave Lyra a small smile. He left the room and closed the door softly. Mira finally sat, her hands folded on the table. For the first time since the tea stall, she let herself feel the fear she had held down. It moved through her like cold water. She let it pass. When it was done, she was steadier. "Tell me everything," she said to Lyra. "From the start." Lyra told her. Simple, plain. She told Mira about the noble's private wing in the arena hospital, about the patients brought in after fights but not put on the public register, about the payments that changed hands before stitches were made, about the ones who could not pay and were sent back to the floor too soon, about the ones who did not return at all. She told her about the night she saw a guard hit a boy who cried too loud. She told her about how she spoke up. She told her about how the chief medic said, "Quiet, Kareth, you are a guest here." She told her about how she recorded everything after that, every cut that healed wrong, every pill that went missing and later sold on the street, every body bag without a name. She told her about the moment they caught her, about Sir Relsan's smile in a white room, about the way he said, "Truth is a small thing that squeaks. This city eats bigger things every day." When she finished, there was quiet. Mira's hands tightened on the edge of the table. "He hurt you," she said. "It was not a question." Lyra looked at the bandage. "Not like he hurts others. I fought back. I think that made him angry. He said he would teach me respect." Mira stood again. She could not stay sitting with that word in the air. Respect. How that word tasted in the wrong mouth. She walked to the door, touched the cool bolts, came back. The stranger watched the two of them as if weighing choices not yet needed. Then they set their cup down. "I have to step out," they said. "I must send the file again by hand. If I do not return in 2 hours, you leave through the river tunnel. Head north. There is a safe sign painted under the 3rd bridge. Wait there, someone will come." Mira nodded. "If you do not come, we come for you." The stranger's mouth curved a little. "Human promises are loud," they said. "I hope this one is true." They put on the hat, the coat, and slipped out the side door like smoke. The room fell quiet again. Lyra leaned back, eyes closed. For the first time she let her head rest. Mira stood guard at the door. She counted the seconds without a clock. She listened to the water move. Somewhere far above, the arena threw light across the night. The city cheered at something violent. Lyra spoke without opening her eyes. "Mira." "Yes, if something happens to me." "Nothing will," Mira said, soft, steel. "If something happens," Lyra said, stubborn like a sister, "promise me you will not throw your life into their fire. Promise me you will not fight just to fight." Mira looked at the ceiling. She could see the shape of the arena there like a ghost crown. "I promise to fight for you," she said. "And for those like you, I promise to pick the place and the time, not them." Lyra smiled, small and real. "Good." A knock sounded, soft, 3 beats, then 2, then 1. Mira went still. Her hand found the baton. She moved to the peephole and looked. The helper was there, the plain-faced one, holding a bag of supplies. His hands were empty. His eyes looked tired but clean. Mira unbolted the door and opened it just enough. The helper stepped in and set the bag on the table. He looked at Lyra kindly. "More dressings," he said, "and food." "Thank you," Lyra said. He nodded and turned to go. His coat shifted. For an instant, Mira saw a flash of metal inside the sleeve, a blade, small, clever, made to be forgotten. Mira's eyes lifted to his face. His mouth was calm, too calm. "Stop," she said. He froze. The room stretched thin around them. The sound of water stopped as if the river held its breath. "Show your hands," Mira said. He did, palm up, slow. "Turn," she said. He did not. His eyes darted. The blade fell from his sleeve like a silver rain. He reached for it fast. Mira was faster. She struck his wrist with the baton and drove him into the table. The cups jumped. Lyra cried out and stood. The helper twisted, his face losing its plainness. He bared his teeth like a trapped thing. "Who sent you?" Mira asked. He spat blood and said nothing. Mira pinned his arm and looked at Lyra. "Door," she said. "Bolts." Lyra ran to the door and threw the bolts. Her hands shook, but the metal obeyed. From the hall outside came the echo of heavier steps, more than one, a lot more. The wrong kind of silence ended. The right kind of danger began. The helper laughed through his teeth. "You thought you were safe," he hissed. "This city is our arena." Mira knocked him out with a clean blow and looked at Lyra. Lyra looked back at Mira. Their eyes said what words could not. The transmitter on the table blinked. A new message, short. "Urgent. Do not open the door. They are in the hall. Move to 2nd exit. Now." Mira grabbed the transmitter and the bag. She moved to the back wall, searched, found a thin seam. She pressed the edge with the baton end. The panel popped. Behind it, a narrow service crawlspace waited like a throat. "Go," she said. "We are not done fighting for truth, not tonight." Lyra took one last look at the quiet room with the warm lamp. She stepped into the dark. Mira followed. The panel shut. The sound in the hall grew loud. Fists hit the door, voices shouted. The bolts held for a breath, then another. In the crawlspace, the air was close and tasted like dust. Lyra crawled on her hands and knees. Mira moved behind her, pushing them both forward with will. The tunnel angled down toward the river again, toward the cold air, toward the dark that was not a cage but a road. Lyra's wrist vibrated, a final burst. A voice, thin but brave, came through the static. It was the stranger. Listen carefully, the voice said. You are not alone. The academy is awake. The city is watching. But House San will try to turn this into a show. They will demand the arena. They will say justice looks like blood in sand. Do not answer them in their language. The line broke. Mira looked ahead where a faint silver showed the end of the crawl space. She could smell the river again. She could hear the boat engines somewhere far off. She could hear the city above them make a new noise, the sound of thousands of people receiving a message at the same time. The truth had begun to move. She put her hand on Lyra's ankle for a second. Just a touch, a promise. Keep going, she said, no matter what. They dropped out of the crawl space into shadows under another bridge. The night opened like a curtain. Across the water, the arena lights flared brighter than before, as if some new game had begun. A chorus of screens woke with the same headline. Boats turned their lamps. People on the banks checked their wrist feeds and pointed at the sky. Mira stared at the great ring, her jaw set. Her eyes were steady. The city exhaled. The call had been heard. And in that living moment, with water moving below and lights burning above, with hunters at their back and truth running ahead, the human cadet understood something deep and quiet. They had hurt her best friend. They had called it law. They had called it order. They had called it sport. They would call the arena justice. Mira would make it their grave. She took Lyra's hand. She led her into the deeper shadow. The night closed around them like armor. Somewhere sirens rose, somewhere a new message spread. Somewhere the stranger ran, coat flaring, hat low, carrying the light of what comes next. Part 1 ended where all true fights begin, with a call in the dark, an answer in the heart, and a promise that would shake the shape of the city. The desperate call had been made. The human had answered. And the arena, waiting, watching, hungry, would soon learn the one rule all bullies forget. A human does not surrender the people she loves.